What is going on, New York Giants fans? Wow, I mean, we have definitely been through hell just from the game last night in itself, right? And we got some good news today for what you want to take it. We have offensive coordinator Jason Garrett has officially been relieved of his duties. Um, this is something that the fans have been wanting, right? And this is something that it's needed to happen. You could definitely make the argument that it's definitely way too late to be doing this, but it should have been done. It should have definitely been done. But the point is that it's done now, and at this point, man, I think that this would be the time for you to evaluate Daniel Jones. I think at this point, when you really look at it, man, how do you let someone? I just want to pull this up for y'all, right? So you look at Jason Garrett as the New York Giants offensive coordinator, right? And right now, we rank dead last in the NFL with 42 offensive touchdowns since the start of the 2020 season when Jason Garrett arrived. That's horrible, man. That is straight up abysmal. On top of that, the Giants were 31st in points with 17.5. Um, in terms of yards, we averaged 299.6 yards per game with Jason Garrett. We were also 25th in points with 18.9 and 23rd in yards with 322.8 per game this season with Jason Garrett, man. And I absolutely agree with you, Greeny. Finally, man. Finally, what's going on, Taj? I mean, as a fan, yeah, I love it. I'm still trying to get over last night. If you weren't with us, I was on Big Pat Sports Talk live stream last night with the rest of the Big Blue crew while we were going over the game, doing play by play. And it was rough, man. It was really rough watching that New York Giants team play last night because offensively, man, it just wasn't getting it done. I mean, Daniel Jones was obviously he was getting hit almost every play, man. I mean, he definitely had some faults of his own in that game, but Jesus Christ, man. Jason Garrett had to go. And you could kind of tell with how Joe Judge responded last night in his presser that obviously something was going to happen. Now, Joe Judge is scheduled to speak with the media, and by the media, the entire media, at 4 p.m. today. So we could expect possibly more changes coming. We're going to see who's going to step up in the offensive coordinator role. It's looking like it's Freddie Kitchens. But, just some quotes from Joe Judge last night saying, we got to do a better job of scoring points. I'm frustrated for the players. We got to do a better job of putting our players in the position to make plays. We have too many good players. We have to put them in better positions to capitalize on it. Now, obviously, he's going to say what he needs to say. But at the same time, man, God, it's abysmal, man. This offense has been abysmal since Jason Garrett has came to this organization, man. And we got Suttles, man. What's going on? How you feeling, brother? Talk to me.
Oh man, Hit Squad, what's up, man? What's up?
I,
Thanks for having me. Uh,
yeah, man.
can you hear me clearly? Can you
Yeah,
hear me clearly?
yeah.
All right. This team, man. This team is. I can't even express the words that it like. I want to curse so badly, but
No,
I'm
you
not.
can. I don't mind.
But oh my god, this team fucking suck. They
You damn
just
right.
fucking suck. Like last night was the worst game, like one of the worst games that I have ever seen from this Giants organization. And it just
Facts.
showed how far away we really are and how messed up we are going into the future. Because the team that we just put out there last night is the same team that we're going to see next year. There's nothing that's going to change. I mean, we may draft the offensive lineman, we may end up getting a quarterback, but for the most part, everybody is going to be back because we can't get out of a lot of these contracts.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely nothing that they can do. And when I came on last week, I was saying like Daniel Jones is just not the guy. I said from the beginning
You
when
did.
he got drafted, I said I was going to give him 3 years. I wanted to see the progression. He had good statistics with with Pat Shermer. In the second year, he fell off. He had a little bit of progression wise. He did stop fumbling, but this third year was supposed to be the year that he was going to at least show that he could be a competent quarterback, especially because we thought that our defense was going to be a top 10. He has shown absolutely no progression, and on the look of his face last night, looked exactly like Sam Darnold after that Patriots game when he was like, "Oh, I'm seeing ghosts." Daniel
Yeah.
Jones' confidence is gone. Daniel Jones looks shot. He truly does. It's 100% time to move on.
Yeah, he definitely looked shot. There was definitely moments last night, and I feel for the kid, man. I mean, and it sucks because this is supposed to be, the year that we're supposed to evaluate him, right? This is supposed to be the
Yeah,
year where he gets his weapons. They really banked on this offensive line, which made no damn sense to me, but they really banked on this offensive line, and it's like we can't even give dude a fair evaluation. But I understand why a lot of fans aren't fully sold on him and they just don't want him here no more. I get that. I'm slowly making my way over there. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be lying to y'all if I said I wasn't. Because there was definitely plays like that interception last night where he threw it
but
across his body straight into the defensive
hard,
tackle's lap, man. Like, what are you
hard.
seeing? Like,
Well, he did have a guy doing a drag route, but he needed to gather all of
what's
his
up, Slick?
he needed to gather everything to be able to throw it more towards the sideline. But him throwing off 1 foot, like it just looked like he was just playing catch with the defensive lineman.
Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah,
was it was embarrassing, man. I mean, and it's like there's one play that I've seen, Brian Baldigger, I've seen Dan Orlovsky as well this morning, really
mm,
just ripping Joe Judge and the Giants for it. And there's this one play where you have three of your wide receivers literally meeting together in the middle of the field,
mm,
mid route. It's like where do you expect Daniel Jones to throw that ball, man? I mean, it's there's a lot of things that went wrong in that game last night, and I was one of the people, and I look kind of crazy right now, but I was one of the people that said, "Oh, we could win this game." Man, I looked insane. I looked insane, man. I really did, and it's like you had 2 weeks to prepare for this game, man, and this is the kind of product you
yeah,
put out on the field. And
yeah,
it's coming out now that there's players that have been frustrated with Jason Garrett, which I mean, you can make an argument. Kenny Galladay, we've seen it on his face. You can kind of see it with Saquon, but at this point, man, I don't blame no one for not wanting anybody here outside of a few players, and those players, for
yeah.
me at least, being Ojolari, McKinney, Thomas, and um,
O'Shea, those,
Roche. Um,
yeah,
there's definitely players that we have here that we can build around, but at the same time, man, it's sad when you think about it, man. Just looking at this offense on paper, obviously it's on paper. I mean, and they haven't been healthy. Don't get me wrong, but you got Kenny Galladay, you got
yeah,
Saquon Barkley, you got Darius Slayton, John Ross, Evan Ingram. I mean, come on, man. There's no
and
reason why,
exactly.
not once, this team has put 30 points on the board, man. I mean, we just had a
Exactly.
Washington team last week. Put the work in on Tampa. Now, obviously, we can't expect the same results, what Washington did compared to what we were going to do. Giving them another week.
Yeah,
Brady never has gone 0-3 in his career. I think outside of that one season
Brian
in
Three.
2003 or
Yeah,
something like that.
2002 or
Uh,
something like that. But
yeah, but
but
still, man, I didn't think we played that bad. Like
nah,
Jesus
but
Christ, man.
it's a huge issue. But the frustration for the weapons, they should be frustrated. Now I don't know if it's the play calling, I don't know if it's Daniel Jones, or it may just be a mixture. But this is a looming issue. We're paying Kenny Galladay 70 million. We drafted Kadarius Toney with our in the first round. Our left tackle has more receiving touchdowns than both of them combined.
Ain't that a shame, man?
Like, let that sit it. Like, that has to be a Skip Bayless line. Like, oh, I've never seen this before in all my years of covering football. That's it. A left
Nah, you're
tackle
right.
has more receiving touchdowns than your big money man and your first round draft pick, who are wide receivers. That makes absolutely no sense. And then going back to your point with this offense can't even put up 30 points. And I think that's more so of the frustration, especially with us Giants fans, but especially like this is what I've been saying to like a lot of my friends. I'm like, it's a problem because I'm looking around the league and nobody has an ideal situation. People that came
Yep.
in after Daniel Jones had don't have ideal situations. People who are not as talented as Daniel Jones do not have ideal situations. And yet they still figure out ways to win games. Jared Goff still finds ways to put up 20 plus points down there in Detroit. They just can't win anything. I just seen Jalen Hurts, who can't pass the ball for his life, run 3 touchdowns in on the Saints and win the game. They're figuring out ways to win games, but yet Daniel Jones cannot figure out a way to win us anything. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's especially look. I know a lot of Giants fans, including myself, were getting on, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. He can't throw. He's not a competent quarterback. But the truth of the matter is, they're winning games, man. And whether
yeah,
that's through the air, whether that's through the ground, they're winning games, and they are flying under the radar as a competitor in the NFC, which a lot of people had them, penciled in as that the fourth team in the NFC East. And right now, they're playing hot, and the Giants,
yeah,
we look like hot trash. We look like straight hot trash. And now, obviously,
totally agree.
the season isn't fully lost. I mean, I know that you could still go 9-8. I was making the argument last night that this is the hardest team left on the schedule, but in my honest opinion, man, something's got to change. And I think that with Jason Garrett being gone, as much as I love it and as much as I'm excited to see, what this offense can do, I think this puts more on of a spotlight on Joe Judge, because now if things don't go right, Jason Garrett's not there. You got no one else you could really put that on. And granted, that offensive line has been abysmal. I mean, it is horrible, man. I want personally two of the first three picks that we have next year go into the offensive line. There's no
Yeah,
reason why it does not go to the offensive line, because you have glaring needs you that you personally did not address until it was way too late, a week before the season, to address the offensive line. You have way too many needs on that offensive line. And I saw a Giants fan on Twitter today make a good argument. If I'm a general manager, and I'm going into this situation, we have bad depth. Granted, we do have a lot of draft picks, but you got
mm-hmm.
some bad depth. You got an owner that likes to micromanage things sometimes, and a coach that's potentially on the hot seat. I mean, what general managers are going to want to take that job? I feel like there's only going to be a select few, and a lot of people aren't going to like this, including myself. I mean, one of those people is going to be Lewis Riddick. He's going to be Lewis. It's going to be Lewis Riddick. I don't want Lewis Riddick on this team, but that's going to be one of the candidates out there, because realistically, what general manager is going to want to take this job? And
Yeah,
unless John Mara completely falls back, which I think as Giants fans we would want, but I just don't see it happening, man.
it's basically this organization is stuck in between a rock and a hard place because that's the way that they set themselves up. And yeah, I totally agree. It will be Lewis Riddick. He would probably be the top candidate, and or probably Kevin Abrams. Now, one of the problems it stems back from even when after Mara actually fired, Reese and McAdoo and stuff, he still Dave Gettleman still had to keep Reese's staff on
Yeah,
for the general manager, and
absolutely.
then he's still forcing them to keep Eli. So Mara is really the responsible one for all, for everything plaguing the way that it ends up plaguing. Now,
Absolutely.
for our offensive line, now granted, it's not good, but I'm not going to blame everything on the offensive line because there has been many, many times that Daniel Jones has had clean pockets and he just didn't get the ball.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
He processes information too slow. Now, if we had a better quarterback who he doesn't even have to be as talented, but just knows he understands pocket presence, he understands how to maneuver the pocket, then that offensive line may just look a tad bit better because Like I was just looking at 45-year-old Tom Brady, who's not athletic at all, but the way he was just moving in the pocket, we couldn't touch him.
Ain't that
And
a damn shame?
and their offensive line was breaking down sometimes. Now, granted, we don't have the best pass rush. It was breaking down, but Tom Brady was still making it look really easy, just stepping through all the weak points and being able to, dot us up.
Yeah,
It's Daniel Jones doesn't have that presence. He never just steps up into the pocket and start moving. He's not a scrambler. So he's legitimately like a statue back there, and he just waits for the guys to be open. The process time is too slow. Now, for me, I've been an advocate of Malik Willis. A lot of people talking about they don't want quarterbacks in this draft. I think Malik Willis would do fairly well with us because he's going to be a raw prospect. You're not going to start him straight out the gate. Um, Daniel Jones is going to be here next year, so I don't want anybody to think like he's not going to be here. He's going to be here.
Oh, he absolutely will. I think
Yeah.
he'll be here, and if I'm not opposed to it either. I personally wouldn't draft a QB, but what I would do is go get me a compatible veteran out there. Whether that's a Mariota, whether that's a Tyrod Taylor. Just getting someone to where
Mhm.
if Daniel Jones isn't working, pull the plug on him. Go put in that veteran player who can at least go win you 1 or 2 games, and then go address that in the next draft. But I mean, I understand that Malik Willis as well. I just wanted to get to some of these comments real quick,
Oh
but
yeah.
I wanted to highlight this because Jaden said it just the way you did, man. I mean, that's sad that Andrew Thomas has more than Kenny Galladay. He got more than Kadarius Toney. He's tied with Sterling Shepard right now, man. I mean, that is sad, man. What's going on, Coach? D-Mac, I feel you because I'm still mad about this game. I'm just more quiet. I'm just more quiet today, man, because at this point, I'm drained, man. This team keeps me drained. I'm about 40 minutes away from Tampa, and it took everything in me not to go to that stadium, man. I was hesitant too. I was very hesitant on buying a ticket to go watch that game, but I said, nah. If this team comes out flat, I'm not trying to be in public when that happens, man, because I'm gonna lose my sleep. So I still my ass home, but
Yeah,
I
they
feel you, D
look,
Mac.
the way the Giants are playing right now, they don't deserve our time. They don't deserve our hard-earned money. They don't deserve,
Facts, facts.
like, they truly don't.
Nah, and you know what? It's I one thing that makes me very pissed off about this offense for the New York Giants is that Jones only had a total of 23 touchdowns and 28 turnovers in 24 games with Jason Garrett, man. I mean, and out of those 23 total touchdowns, that includes 20 touchdown passes and 3 rushing touchdowns, which I mean, if you compare that to the 17 interceptions and the 9 fumbles that he's had, man, I mean, Jesus
Mhm.
Christ. I mean, I know he has 11 total touchdowns and 10 turnovers in 10 games this season. That's not too good. That's not good at all. But
Nah.
only 9 touchdown passes and 2 rushing TDs. You know, come on, man. I mean, it's just at some point, man, it's got to stop. I mean, I get it. There's a lot of issues with this offense. Don't get me wrong. At the same time, man, I mean, there was moments where I was looking at that game and I'm like, what quarterback could survive behind this offensive line? But I will say this much because Big Pat made a very very good point last night. You look at quarterbacks like Josh Johnson. I mean, man, these are quarterbacks that are working with little to nothing and putting points on the board. And
Yeah.
they're not even getting a chance. I mean, I remember when we played the Washington football team when they were the Washington Redskins, and they pulled out Mark Sanchez because he was playing a shit job, and they put
Mhm.
in Josh Johnson. I mean, and he was pretty serviceable, And then same issue with the Jets. He brings them almost out of a loss, and then gets cut, and they go get Joe Flacco. Um, it's just you have these QBs that come into the league that they work with little to nothing, man, and they still make it work. And
Yeah.
Jones, I look, I'm not gonna not get on Jones. I mean, Jones last night he missed Kenny Galladay on a wide open touchdown. He missed Kadarius Toney going up the stream, up the seam, man. I mean, it was there was definitely a lot of points out there that were missed because of Daniel Jones, and I definitely do think that there's a lot of reasons to it. I think one of the reasons is that Jason Garrett tried making him into this one read quarterback because when I think we've all seen when Jones has to go through multiple reads, he's not getting that ball out. He's not really going through all of the reads, which is definitely an issue on Daniel Jones. But I mean,
True.
I think at some point, man, something's got to change. If and Ash Money made a good point as well last night. I could also see if the Giants were to lose out every single game for the remainder of the season, Jones might go next year. They might. I mean, the only team I could see that would trade for Jones would be Denver. Maybe,
Mm,
maybe
see,
just because with Pat Shermer there. But at the same time, does Jones even have trade value?
oh yeah, oh yeah. I remember when Josh Rosen and the guys like on the guys on PFF, they made a great point of how valuable a quarterback is. Josh Rosen had the worst rookie season of any rookie ever, and they literally
Yeah,
ended up being the number one pick, and they drafted Kyler Murray. They still unloaded Josh Rosen off for a second and a fourth. So that's
can you
how
name it?
valuable a quarterback really is. So Daniel Jones going to you, there's a market for him. You're going to get something for him because I've also made like a video where saying Jones, if DJ was in Minnesota right now, Minnesota would probably be leading the division. If DJ
Probably,
was
yeah.
in, if DJ was in the Saints, Sean Payton will make him look real good. If he was with
Facts.
Pittsburgh, if he was with Pittsburgh, they would probably be the division leaders right now, looking to go into the playoffs because Daniel Jones can't elevate talent. When the talent is around him, he could keep them status quo and he could play well enough to win. And then if you have a defense on top of that, then you're good. He's going to give you probably 2 or 3 great games out of him, but he's not going to put a team on his back. Now, when your offensive line isn't good and he has to process information fast, now you're seeing the result. Everything that he does is just slow. There's no processing time with anything. I'm looking at Jalen Hurts. As we said before, he's not a thrower of the ball, but he processes the information way faster. He
Yeah,
sees one
facts,
read,
facts.
two read, not there. I'm just gonna run, and that's what's been working for the Eagles. And it's extremely frustrating. And I think it's just more frustrating because like I said before, we're in between a rock and a hard place. So if you get rid of the
Facts.
general manager, you get rid of the general manager, is Judge gonna stay?
I
You want
honestly, I think they give I think they give Judge another year.
in that, but now that's going right back into the cycle of where you're at. Unless you're going to allow Joe Judge um to pick the general manager, which it's not outside the realm of possibility. I mean, the
Yeah.
49ers did it. They hired Kyle Shanahan, and then Kyle Shanahan you know, he worked well with John Lynch. So that's how that became. So you can get the coach and then the GM. You don't have to do GM coach like that, but it's still going to be tough unless you're looking to clean house. And then if you are going to keep Judge, are you going to really force him to keep Daniel Jones? Because that wasn't his pick.
Yeah, I mean, you make an excellent point there. I mean, like I said, I think definitely with the firing of Jason Garrett, it only puts the spotlight more on Joe Judge. Because at this point, if things don't work out, man, you definitely have to look at Judge. You definitely have to say, okay, if you're gonna go pick your guys, at the same time, Daniel Jones isn't a Joe Judge guy either. That was
Yeah,
kind of put onto him, and it's like I'm not trying to make excuses for Joe Judge, but it's just like I'm looking at these stats, right?
yeah.
And obviously, we're dead last in the NFL with 42 touchdowns. The Washington football team, with not even a franchise quarterback in Taylor Heineke, who's getting it done, by the way, 56 touchdowns. The Eagles, who don't have a QB that can throw the ball, can still score points, though. 68 touchdowns. I mean, and
Yeah,
honestly, you can make the argument that we got more weapons.
we do. We do.
And
We
we
are
can't
more.
score no
Yeah,
points.
yeah. We're more talented than Washington and then the Eagles, but it's not working now. A lot of people still blaming Garrett, saying that he made DJ into a one read quarterback. I don't think that's the case. I think because Garrett is a smart guy. You don't last in this league if you're not smart. And especially for him being the head coach, knowing talent, he when he took this job, he seen something in Daniel Jones, and he said, "All right, I can probably mask his deficiencies." This is probably why he's gearing him towards just a one read, because that's all he is. Because he's not processing information fast enough, so he can't even get to read two, read three, option or four. So Garrett tried to simplify everything for him, but that's not even working.
No, it's not. And I mean, obviously, I mean, you look at Jason Garrett's history. I mean, he has a history of making these young quarterbacks into some good quarterbacks. Tony
Yeah,
Romo, Dak Prescott. So you could definitely make the argument that there's a lot of blame to be put on Daniel Jones. And I know that I know I'm not gonna say we because I don't want to speak for you, but I know there's times where I can try to go back to that 2019 season. But the truth of the matter is that a lot of those touchdowns came against garbage teams, man. I mean, the Lions, the Jets, Washington. I mean, abysmal, beyond
yeah,
abysmal. And there's definitely things that makes you question Daniel Jones. I mean, and I get that 100%.
yeah,
Jones has not been playing good. He has not been playing good at all, and I definitely don't think that everything falls on Jason Garrett. I don't think that at all because I don't think he's that bad of a coach. I will say this much: I like that he connects with the players. I like that he's able to develop a chemistry with these players. But at the same time, man, I mean, you're not putting points on the board. You're playing very conservative, which that also falls on Joe Judge as well. He's approving these game plans, but something's got to change, man. I'm
yeah.
not saying that Freddie Kitchens is the answer here, but something's got to change.
I think that we're just seeing, especially for like a lot of like the younger viewers that only seen Eli, we're seeing what happens when you have a quarterback with limitations. Because one thing Eli didn't have outside of him running, limitation wise, throwing the ball, he didn't have any limitations. He could throw the deep ball. He could throw, he could throw outside the numbers, inside the numbers, process information fast enough. He wasn't limited until late, until the lighter half of his years.
Yeah,
But for the younger audience that's only seen Eli and seen how great he was, you don't know what uh having a limited quarterback really does for you. Like the Dave Brown era, like that was the Carnell era. That was terrible. Those were quarterbacks that was extremely limited, and you couldn't really do anything with it. But and this is what we're seeing with Daniel Jones. He's just extremely limited. And I mean, I I did have some concern once I found out that Pat Shermer was the guy that actually drafted Daniel Jones, because Pat Shermer just knows how to make very little talent look very look extremely well.
yeah,
With Case Keenum, with Nick Foles, like those guys you wouldn't even think to be good starting quarterbacks in this league, but he made them have career years. I think the most talented guy he worked with up until the point before he got Daniel Jones was Sam Bradford, and he even made Sam Bradford have a career season.
yeah. He
And
he was never a good head coach, but he was definitely a pretty good
yeah,
offensive coordinator. But I
yeah,
wanted to
and
say this much: I definitely understand that. I'm sorry, but I disagree. Garrett is horrible. We'll never try to call the DJ straights. I definitely could see that as well. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. What's up, Rodney? Actually, we got Rodney here. Hold on. Hey, what's good, Rodney?
Hey, what's
hey,
going on?
good
Hope you
man.
can hear me all
Yeah,
right.
yeah, I can hear you perfect. Sorry, I just saw you join the stream just now. My fault, brother.
How's it going there, man?
Hey,
Hey man, what's up, man? What's up?
man.
Hey, it's a good day. All right.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a good day.
We
That's all I
woke
can
up.
say.
Great day.
I woke up, you know what I mean? I'm in beautiful, bright, sunny skies. Yeah, it's a bit cold, but hearing that news about Jason Garrett being fired, that just warmed me up right off the back. It just warmed me up.
Oh, wait a minute, timeout. I am so sorry for interrupting. He got fired.
Yeah, he got fired. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, when you were saying, I thought it was the anticipation. I've been on
No,
the
no, he
road all
got fired.
day.
Nah,
I've been on the
he
road.
got fired. Yeah, he got fired.
Okay. Oh, damn. Yeah. I'm sorry for interrupting you, Rodney. Yeah. Yeah.
No,
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 yeah,
no, no.
you good. Yeah, he
Yeah.
got fired about 30 minutes ago.
Yep.
Oh, damn. I've been on the road all day. Damn. All right. All right. Continue.
Right now, I'll say this. Based off of what I saw last night, I know you guys watched the game.
Yeah.
Um, it just, I just don't know where to put blame entirely for, just this organization as a whole. And I was listening to the stream earlier, and I'm not sure what's your name. I forgot. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Oh, Suttles. Oh, Suttles.
Yeah.
Easy three.
Oh, okay, okay. You said something earlier, and I wholeheartedly agree. You know, the thing is, you let Jason Garrett go, but
Mm.
that doesn't necessarily mean that things are going to automatically get better.
That's true.
You know,
That's 100% true.
Yeah.
he's not the only
Yeah.
problem. We can all agree that he is not the only problem. What I see as from
Nope.
a standpoint now with Kitchens calling plays, can he do a better job at calling plays? Can he do a better job of getting these weapons and Daniel Jones on the same page to produce points? Can he do that with the amount of time that he has with the opponents that we're going up against? Because if he can't, then at least that's one part of the problem that's solved. Oh, well, Jason Garrett was an issue. He's gone. We should have did this last year. But I just think that we have more issues that needs to be addressed before this team can actually get to where it needs to be.
True.
Oh yeah, facts. I agree with you there, man. I mean, there's a lot of issues with this team. Let's be real, man. There are a lot of issues with this team. Offensive line, you could put Jones in there, you could put Judge in that. You could there's a lot of blame to go around, man. And we're gonna see. We're definitely gonna see how this team adjusts to this within the last 6 games of the season. But this is, I mean, last night was a joke. It was a straight joke. It was hard, man. It was really hard to watch that game because maybe I'm a fool, but I had higher expectations, at least for the offense, man.
I,
Because
I
they
mean,
had a banged up secondary, man. You have Thomas back.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, you don't sound like a fool. I don't think any Giants fans feel should sound like a fool when you are coming into a game where their secondary is back banged up. Now, granted, they are the Super Bowl champs, but you are expecting our offense that has all of the weapons to score more than 3 points.
Yeah,
I don't fault anybody for saying that they thought that we was going to do better than 3 points because the touchdown that we scored, that was a gift. All right, Mike Evans, that ball bounced off, and Jackson got the interception. They was at the 4-yard line. You were supposed to score, and then you couldn't even score. You had to do a trick play to score. And uh, even though Daniel Jones laid that ball out there, I gotta say, Andrew Thomas, that was a very athletic catch by Andrew Thomas. That was
yeah,
a very athletic
it
catch.
was.
That looked good. Uh, but yeah, no, you're not a fool. You're not a fool for expecting, an NFL team that's on Monday night to score more than 3 points.
It's sad, man. I mean, and I get these players' frustrations because I'd be just as pissed, man. I mean, what was the point of paying Kenny Galladay all this money if you haven't even thrown one contested catch to this man? You ever
Nope.
like, man? It's. I feel like Galladay doesn't get the ball unless it's a quick slant to pick up the first down. Like I don't see Galladay getting the ball any other way, and that's sad, man. Because that's not and it's not really playing to his strengths. And I got to look at this coaching staff as well. Like, how do you have the most coaches in the league, yet you're extremely undisciplined? You're putting the product that you're putting on the field, and it's not working. It hasn't been working. It has not been working, and it's frustrating. It's
Well,
it's it's really fucking frustrating with this team, man.
here's a question I got to ask you.
Yeah.
Now, everybody's seen Nate Solder, how he plays. Everybody's seen it. And we can go in, we can talk about that. That's a show in and of itself of just how Solder plays.
God.
Mm.
You know, but the thing is, and I want everybody to be, just aware of this, is that Nate Solder, he's a horrible player. Okay, he needs to go. But what are the coaches seeing? Because they have to watch film. You have to.
Yeah.
There's just no way around. You have to watch film, evaluating the players, seeing where they did things wrong, seeing what worked, so you can build off of that. You're telling me that as a coach, and Rob Sale, from what I understand, he's a very good offensive line coach. You're telling me that, in your right opinion, Solder is the right player to put on that field over Matt Pert?
I can't see it, man. I can't.
I'll tell you this. I will have to disagree. He is, because you want to know why? He brings more value overall than what Matt Parrott do. That's why Solder is on that field. It can be leadership. It can be how he voices his self, in the huddles. It can be a multitude of things. And if Matt Parrott, which he is not, outplaying Solder, by like 5 or 6 levels, he's not going to get on because he's not bringing that value. Solder, I totally agree with you. He's not that good of a player, but from a value standpoint, if we're putting him on a number scale, if Solder's at a 5 and Pear is at a 6, what Solder brings in value probably elevates him to like a 7 or 8, just because he's probably the captain of the offensive line since Nate Gates isn't there. The way that he's conducting himself, probably the way that he's actually helping the guys. It can be a multitude of things that we don't see that's just not on film. But from the play, I definitely agree. Matt Parrish should be out there, but I believe Solder may bring more value overall to that offensive line. That's why Parritt's not playing over him.
I mean, oh yeah, continue, man.
Okay, from a leadership standpoint, maybe I might.
Yeah,
that's a stretch, but I might agree with you on that. But other than that, he brings nothing, absolutely nothing.
Totally agree.
Okay?
Totally agree.
If I'm an offensive line coach and I'm watching this film and I'm sitting there saying to myself, you know what, I can't believe I'm in a position where I am putting my quarterback in jeopardy of getting hurt because of leaving Solder out there. Now, Pert isn't much better. I'll give you that.
Mm-hmm.
But if Pert can come in and at least be, competent enough to get blocks, then I'm going to start Pert.
Facts.
Because one, I have my, quote unquote potential franchise quarterback back there, and every single time he drops back to even, whether it be a handoff or a screen, a rollout, whatever the case may be, he has immense pressure in his face. Now,
always
there was barely any pressure coming off that left side. Anytime that Andrew Thomas is in that game, he's out there on an island by himself, and you trust him to handle Daniel Jones' blind side. It's the middle is from literally the left guard all the way over to right tackle. That is the main issue. I'm sorry. Now, I'm not saying that Nate Solder is the only problem on that offensive line. I'm not saying that. But in this sense, I would gladly take Pert over him right now just to see whether or not, okay, we know the pressure is coming from the left guard to the right tackle. Let's see if we can do something with the right tackle. Let's see if that works. If that at least fixes, now we know we need to shore up this middle.
No, I'm there with you, man. I'm there with you.
Absolutely.
And I'm there with you too, D-Mac. I'd slap the shit out of Nate Solder if I could, man. Pray for DJ. Man, pray for this offense, man. Pray for the organization. But they don't deserve my money. I'm going to say that much.
I don't think they deserve anybody's money at this point now, man.
No, you're right. You're right about that, man.
I was gonna go and buy another jersey. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna go and spend money on another jersey right now. I just don't see it.
Save your money, man. Save your money. They do not the way that they are playing, they do not deserve our time. They do not deserve our money. I mean, they should really be paying us just to sit down there and watch that piece of trash.
You
Like,
should pay for my therapy, man. This is
yeah,
ridiculous.
this is terrible, man. But I mean, I, I guess we'll just see what Freddie Kitchens can do. Now, we do need to address the offensive line, but for me in particular, I would like to see another quarterback behind this offensive line because I mean, it's not good, but I would like to see somebody who actually has pocket presence and knows how to maneuver the pocket and see where this offense can actually be.
Who's our QB coach?
Um,
Shaquinski.
yes, yeah, that guy.
All
He
right,
came from Miami, I believe, and he was also with the Patriots.
I'm gonna make 2 points, and I'll let you guys respond. One, in my belief, there is not one quarterback alive, let alone in this league right now, that can survive behind his offensive line. Not one. Two, it goes to show you how much he's learning from this quarter QB coach. And I understand that you can only work with whatever it is that you have at that moment. So, if that offensive line isn't blocking, there's only so much that you can actually put out there and hopefully, pray that it succeeds. In this sense, right now, Suttles, you said you want to see
Mm,
another quarterback. I, I I agree, and then I disagree
mhm.
because we have not done a service to DJ, let alone Saquon,
Oh
without
yeah,
addressing that offensive line. So I agree with you based off of what I saw last night from Daniel Jones. And you can't put all the blame on him. I mean, on the offensive line because he did make a lot of really, really bad mistakes. But if you put this young man behind an offensive line that is competent and that works, then I think you would see a different Daniel Jones wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
And because the play calling, hopefully it can get better with Kitchens. Whether he's here next year or not, who knows? But if you couple that with a a better offensive line and better play calling, I think you will see a different Daniel Jones. We've seen flashes of it, but I think it will be consistent. You know what I
I,
mean? I
I'm there
really
with
think
you.
it will be consistent.
Yeah, I'm there with you, man. I think my mentality is, I want to build around Jones with those two first picks. I mean, you go get your edge rusher, you go get your offensive lineman. Second round, go get your interior offensive lineman. And if it doesn't work, you have the peace of mind of when you do draft your next quarterback in the next season, he'll have a better offensive line. He'll have some weapons. He'll have some players on the defense, and it'll be a pretty decent situation depending how they play next year. But I mean, I definitely do. I agree with you, Rodney, because I think Jones, when he does have those flashes, those are the moments to me where I say, okay, if he can do this consistently, we got our guy. But the problem is that it's inconsistent. And
yeah.
for me, like I love Daniel Jones, man. I could be a Daniel Jones homer. I'll put myself out there. I got no issue saying that. But I mean, after last night, man, there was a lot of head scratching moments for me. And at the same time, I'm also looking at it and it's like almost every play it seems someone is back there on the defensive side. And it's like how can I expect any quarterback to succeed not just behind this poor offensive line, but with this play calling? I think if you give me an offensive coordinator that can play to DJ's strengths, you go put better offensive linemen than what we currently have, which is straight hot trash on the field, man. I agree, Rodney. I think that we could see a more consistent play from Daniel Jones. We could see those flashes more consistently. Because I don't even think that if you go get yourself like I said earlier, the Josh Johnson comparison, he might be able to make a couple plays here and there that let's say Daniel Jones couldn't. Because I do agree, I don't think that Daniel Jones does a good job of extending plays. Um, but at the same time, man, I think that if you go build an offensive line, we'll see a better Daniel Jones. But at the same time, man, there's so many things that he has to work on, man, and it's frustrating because it's things that we've seen since his rookie year. And that could be a coaching thing. It could definitely be, absolutely on Daniel Jones. But I'm also
But
looking at it like, I am looking at the quarterbacks coach. What is he teaching Daniel Jones? I'm also looking at Jason Garrett. I mean, obviously he's not here anymore, but what was he teaching Daniel Jones? Uh, I don't know. Like I said,
but
I don't think Kitchens is the answer at all. It's kind of a band-aid for the wound until we can go get our guy next year. But something's got to
but
change, man.
yeah, but see my thing is like I definitely agree. If we had a better offensive line, um, I think we would see a different Daniel Jones. But the issue with that statement is when will we have a better offensive line? Because
That's true. That's true.
it's not like that we're just missing like uh two guys or we're just missing, that one guy. No, we're missing about four guys on that offensive line. The only stud is Andrew Thomas. And then, you can have faith in Nick Gates when he comes back, but we don't know how he's going to be after the injury. So you can't really, bank on that. Here,
That's true.
yeah, Hernandez is trash. I mean, Price is trash. Like we are so far away from fixing that offensive line, all within a year. It's going to take at least two. I mean, if you hit on all your picks and things of that nature, it's going to take like 2 years just to build this offensive line up. And by that time, you don't know what Daniel Jones is going to end up doing. Like, so that's why I'm saying, like, if you draft a quarterback in this draft, you have the opportunity where you have him sitting down. Daniel Jones is still going to be playing, but that quarterback is going to get in and get some type of experience simply because Jones is going to get injured. It's guaranteed that he's going to miss 1 or 2 games, and you don't know how that record is going to be
That's true.
moving forward. Because one of the things that I don't want to happen is we're going into next year. We don't have a young quarterback. Probably, just have, let's just say, like a Mike Glennon. We're trying to work on that offensive line. And for people that still believes that Daniel Jones is the answer, only if we build that offensive line up. If he ends up getting hurt next year, and then what and then what happens? We're going to have to bring him back for a fifth year because you're going to want to see what he can do if we had a better offensive line. So it's just going to be a continuous cycle. And for me, I've seen some signs where this just isn't the guy. And last night really showed me like that look on his face. That was shell shock. That was how David Carr looked after his first season. That was how Sam Darnold looked with the ghost game. Like his confidence is flat out gone. And when a quarterback of that nature and that happens to him like that, I don't think you can come back from that.
Yeah,
You need to change a scenery type joint, not just with New York.
well, here's okay. Well, there's two sides to that coin.
Mhm.
All right, say for instance, okay, you know what? Daniel Jones has 2 more years, so
Mhm.
next year he's in his fourth year.
Yeah.
You draft a quarterback. Now, I'm not entirely sold on these quarterbacks in this upcoming draft.
Yeah.
I like Malik Willis. I like Desmond Ritter. I really like Pickett, but I'm not 100% sold on the quarterbacks in this draft.
Mhm.
If we had to go that route, I would rather say, you know what? Can we get a Tyrod Taylor? Can we get, I'm not even going to say his name, Davis Mills, but can we get a worthwhile backup that makes sense instead of Mike Glennon? That in and of itself is a reach because what are you saying to Daniel Jones at that point? Because it's one thing with Mike Glennon, he's your backup. When
Mhm.
you bring in someone else now, what are you saying to Daniel Jones? You're saying to him, okay, we have faith in you, but
Yeah.
we are, this is our contingency plan just in case you mess up.
Yeah. I
Yep.
mean, I feel like that's at the point of where it needs to be. And I don't know, maybe I'm just a different thinker, but when it comes to quarterbacks, I don't know why a lot of teams don't do that when you have questions about the quarterback. Like, why are you trying to save his feelings? If he's such a competitor, then that's going to make him play better because he doesn't want that
Facts.
guy to be out there. You do that with every other position. You do that with the wide receiver, a running back, left tackle, cornerback, safety. You do it with every other position. Competition makes you better. Do it with the quarterback position. If we're drafting a young quarterback, if Danny is as competitive as he says that he is, then that should make him work extra hard on what he was doing. Whatever he was doing, he needs to do it 2, 3 times harder because he don't want this kid to see the field. Because if the kid sees the field, he may not get that job back. So that's why. Now, every time you have like a veteran who has been around the league, and you know that he's not going to be the guy whatsoever, he's just going to be a placeholder, he still can do whatever he wants because the organization is, they invested a six overall pick into him, opposed to, let's just say, Tyrod Taylor, who is a career journeyman and just a stopgap for a lot of the guys. So
Yep.
I would say, hey, bring the competition out of him. I mean, at this point, it's going to be hard for any of us going down the line to be sold on a quarterback because we don't know exactly where we're going to be drafted. We're always going to be seeing holes here, seeing holes there. They need to invest more into the offensive defensive line. That's what wins Super Bowls. That's what wins. When you're able to protect your quarterback and get after the quarterback, that's what wins. Don't invest so heavily into these skill positions. Skill positions are very replaceable. Offensive linemen, defensive linemen, those are the guys that's going to get those jobs done. But
No,
I mean,
I definitely hear that, man. I mean, it's like for me, like I said, there's definitely a lot of things that we need to address on this team. But I
yeah,
wouldn't be opposed to going and getting a Marcus Mariota or a Tyrod Taylor, because I'm not expecting them to be franchise players, but those are players that could go win you a game or two if need be. And I think that Daniel Jones does need some fire under his seat because, come on, man, what is Mike Long Neck Ass Glennon really doing for Daniel Jones? I mean, if I'm Daniel Jones, I mean that's not really competition for me. Granted, it's an upgrade over Colt McCoy, who we had last year, who by the way is balling in Arizona right now.
yeah,
But nah, for me, yeah, I'm there with you, man. Jaden, I doubt the Giants would have ever even considered getting Cam just because he would have probably taken Daniel Jones' job. If we're being real with you. Um,
yeah,
Giants should
yeah.
look at Dan Mullen. Yo, what's good, Settles? Oh, I thought you said something. My fault, bro. My fault. Giants should look at Dan Mullen for OC. He's good with quarterbacks, and he wouldn't have to worry about the defense. He's a great offensive coach. Yeah, man. I know Dan Mullen got fired recently, right, from the Florida Gators. I believe so. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I know too much about Dan Mullen because I don't. But I know you're a Gators fan, so I'd love for you to come on sometime and talk Dan Mullen's.
All right, hey, yo,
Almost.
hit squad. Yo, hit squad, Rodney. I'm out of here. I gotta go
Yes,
train
sir.
a client real quick. But yo, thanks a lot for having me on. It's always great
Absolutely.
talking to y'all. Rodney, hit squad. I'm out. Later.
Appreciate you,
Right.
Settles. Thank you.
All right.
Hey, you see, I'm not sure who that Jaden brought up the Dan Mullins. Yeah, Dan Mullins is a good OC. He would make a good OC. He's very good with quarterbacks. I just, to me, and this is nothing against the college OCs. I want someone who knows the NFL, who
Facts.
knows how
Facts.
he can get as much as he can possibly can out of these players. I would go. I'm not saying that wouldn't be, it wouldn't be, beneficial. But in my mind, there's one person that comes to my mind, and I did a little bit of research on him, and he's actually pretty good. And he did an excellent job. I mean, an excellent job with Justin Herbert his first year. That's Pep Hamilton. This
That's a
guy
good. That's a
knows
good point.
football. He knows football. You know, to me, if and again, that's only if Freddie Kitchens doesn't work out and they decide, well, we need to go out there and search for another OC. But
Yeah.
in my mind, In my opinion, if you can get a guy like Pep Hamilton to come in, who knows how to, get the most out of your quarterback, be able to design plays that can, one, play to Daniel's strengths, help him to succeed, and also get these playmakers, these $1 million playmaker that we just signed in the offseason, an electric guy in Kadarius Toney, Saquon, who everybody is, kind of like down in the dumps about, but I'm not, because I think we're utilizing him in the wrong way. If you can get the most out of all those three players, including who we have as far as whether Sterling Shepard is still here or not, Slayton if he's still here or not, Ingram if he's still here or not. If you can get the most out of this offense, then you're one step closer in becoming, a team that is, one, feared, and two, people have to worry about. You
It's
know,
true.
you have to be concerned about that. Everybody says, the quarterback is the most important position. For me, that's true. The quarterback is probably one of the most important positions on that field. The second, and I'm saying this as a whole unit, as a unit in its whole, is that offensive line. It doesn't matter what offensive coordinator you bring in. It doesn't matter what QB you bring in. If you do not address that, you're going to have these same issues and same problems arising year after year after year. So, you know, I like the Dan Mullins idea. There's a lot of OCs out there that can probably come in and, jumpstart this offense and get those exciting plays, those deep throws, all that, they can bring all that to the table and, move forward. And let's see how this offense, generates points on the back end. We can do that. We can actually, anticipate, maybe that can happen with Freddie Kitchens calling plays now, but everything is a toss up. And unfortunately, with the way they built this team, there's always going to be the question, a lot of questions surrounding DJ, Saquon. You know, it's going to be a lot of questions, and that all equals up to, if it doesn't work out, more blame, and who's the blame going to fall on?
Yeah, I'm there with you, man. I mean, for me personally, I would want I guess you could say a veteran offensive coordinator. I want someone that knows knows the NFL. I want someone that would know how to play to Daniel Jones' strength. And I thought Justin Herbert had a solid rookie season. Obviously, he's balling right now, but I thought he had a solid rookie season, so I wouldn't be opposed to going in that direction and looking at his previous offensive coordinator. Um, but I mean, to me personally, man, I mean, it's got to be better than what we had in Jason Garrett. Like I said, I don't think that Freddie Kitchens is nowhere near the answer. But at the same time, man, I mean, give me someone that's going to play to our quarterback strength. Give me someone that's going to extend the field and throw the ball past 5 yards. Um, there was definitely a lot of moments with Jason Garrett where we weren't even having our routes being run to the sticks, to pick up the first down, and we needed to pick up the first down. Um, like I said, I don't know too much about Dan Mullen. I'd love to do my research into him, but I think at this point, man, it's a good day. I agree with you, man. It's a good day. We got rid of Jason Garrett, and who knows? There might be more to come. We got to wait for that press conference at 4. There might be more to come. I think at this point, it's safe to say that Gettleman does not come back. It's just a matter of when. Um, but this is it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, like I said, it's stressful. I want to say that
Beyond stressful, man.
it's
To
stressful as
say
a
the
fan.
least.
As a fan, you have so much invested. Not, and it's not like, we're getting paid millions of dollars and stuff like that. We have, as a fan, you have time, and I don't even know what you really want, but you have so much time invested. You have, you watch the games, you cheer for the team because you want them to succeed.
Yep.
You have so much invested in. As a fan, it's stressful and it's upsetting when you see that your team is not playing up to what you want them to be. You see that The players look like they've lost all desire to play. The coaching staff are probably running around trying to figure out, well, what am I doing? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? How can I, put my players to, in a better position to succeed? And they're failing miserably. And then when it's all said and done, you know, you have to look at it from the standpoint, you know what? Hey, I can go cheer for another team. I can go ahead and do that. But I have love for the Giants.
Likewise, man.
I'm a lifelong Giants fan. Will always be a Giants fan. I want this
Thanks.
team to succeed. I don't want to be that organization that always harkens back to, oh yeah, we got 4 Super Bowls and we beat Tom Brady twice. Okay, that's fine, no problem. We got that hanging up. We can agree that those are in better days. Now we're in those dark days where what can this team do differently going forward that can put them back on track to be that winning franchise that we as fans believe they can. And at this point for me as a fan, a lifelong fan, I want to see those changes. I want people to come in and not be afraid to make those hard decisions, not be afraid to put players in the right position to succeed. I don't care about who has this type of pedigree, who has this, I'm, they're 12 years experience. I don't care about that. I
Yep.
don't care about that. I want someone to come in and show these young men, look, this is how you play, this is how you win. You need to instill a winning culture back into this organization because right now the Giants just do not have a winning culture. There is not a winning culture present right now.
They don't even know how to win.
You know, we play to lose. We don't play to win. We don't take the necessary shots, to go out there, put it on the line. Be risk takers. You know, Granted, you don't want to see you guys get hurt, but put yourself out there. Get out there. Put in that extra effort. There's I don't think there's one real leader on this team right now.
There isn't.
There's
There
no
isn't.
one. There's no one there that's saying, you know what, we need to. Who's talking in the locker room during halftime? Before the game starts, who's talking? Who's getting the team riled up? Because as far as I was concerned, the only real person that was really doing that, and I'm not saying he was doing it in any great sort of way, but the one guy that was so excited was Jabril Peppers. I mean, that guy,
Yep.
he can't get you excited for a football game. I don't know what to tell you.
Facts.
You know,
Facts.
but where is the? I need for a leader to step up.
Nah,
Daniel
man.
Jones. Daniel Jones, if you're that leader, you need to step up. Not only with your play, but getting these guys to buy in, to follow you where you need, through whatever, so guys can succeed and win. That's what's needed right now, and that's what's lacking. That one or two or three leaders for this team right now.
I think you hit it right on the head, Rodney. I gotta give you props for that because I can't disagree with anything that you said, man. Nate, how you feeling, man? What's on your mind, man?
How's it going, Nate?
Oh, what's up, guys? Just reacting to the news as you guys were. I was surprised because I thought we should have done this last year. It was, in my opinion, this should have been done a long time ago. But
Facts. Facts.
this is, it's the same. This is footballs ain't the same anymore. It's, in my opinion, it's changed. Like every year has changed. Now people are saying it's on a passing league. Now people are you. In my opinion, if you are the Giants, you needed to do this like last season. But whatever happens, happens. But I think this is the best hire we could have got. Freddie Kitchens is a great offensive mind. And I looked at this ESPN thing. Baker Mayfield had a 36 QBR. He went up, I think, like 40 and whatever in QBR. And then he had like insane passing numbers for Freddie Kitchens. So excited for that. And I'm excited what this team can do with the route concepts because that was terrible what we shown in Tampa. Like, that was atrocious. What we shown on live television, I was disgusted as a Giants fan what we saw at that game.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, and I think you make a great point with Freddie Kitchens. I mean, one positive, right, with Freddie Kitchens is that when he was an offensive coordinator, he worked pretty well. with Baker Mayfield. However, when he was a head coach and an offensive play caller in 2019, I mean, they were seventh in explosive play rate. They were eighth in explosive pass play rate, eighth in explosive run rate. Now, granted, I believe Baker Mayfield had a pretty bad year that year in 2019, but you could make the case that they had an explosive offense. Now, how much is that, with the offensive line that they had, plus the talents that they had over there? Sure, I definitely see that. But, man, I mean, looking at this, it's got to be better than what we're getting with Jason Garrett. Now it's going to be the same playbook, but I just think that we're going to see plays being extended more. I want to see Daniel Jones take chances. I really want to see Daniel Jones take chances down the field, and how much of that was on Garrett, how much of that was on the offensive line, how much of that was on Jones. We'll never really know. But I definitely do think that there's a fair share of blame to go across everybody. I don't think it's
And
on
also,
one
I
specific
was gonna
person.
add on this too. Freddie Kitchens loves the three tight end sets, which is what I love too. I love three tight ends on the field because it's three big guys on the field, and then whoever Daniel Jones wants to throw to, and that's when Daniel Jones is the best. He likes the tight ends, like for some reason. I don't even know why, but what we saw the Kyle Rudolph touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, it's for me, man. I don't have an issue with the three tight end sets. I feel like and I've been saying this. I don't think that we've used Evan Ingram the right way. I don't think that even with us bringing in Kyle Rudolph, I wasn't really too crazy about that. I thought that with Caden Smith, I don't know what Caden Smith has done for the coaching staff to not put him on the field. I believe this is actually his last year with the New York Giants, if I'm correct. Um, but it's sad, man. I mean, I just every time I look at the roster that we have, at least weapons wise on the offense, man. I mean, come on, man. There's no reason why that we should be playing the way that we are, and yet here we are. Another 3-7 season. I mean, season at this point, man. We're looking towards the draft. Uh it's really unfortunate, man.
I'll
It's
say,
really unfortunate, man.
hey, I'll say this, and then I may have to hop off.
Yeah, no problem, man.
One thing I don't like to see all the time is this 12 and 13 personnel. And I know the reason why they were doing it a lot is because you know what? They realize that the offensive line is bad and they're trying to help out with the blocking. It limits you as far as what you can do because if you have 12 and 13 personnel in there, two tight ends, you're utilizing maybe one of those tight ends to block. So
Yeah.
now you're limiting as far as who you have on the field at this point. Again, I'm going to harken back to what I have said before. I even said that out in my tweets. This past draft, I wanted Slater. Right off the bat, I wanted Slater. I would have been okay with Parsons, but I wanted Slater. Why? Because his offensive line needed to be addressed. They
Yep.
could have done it throughout that whole entire draft. They could have done it, but they didn't. You see the results of why you didn't address it. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, Slater would have been a beast because even as of right now, we see that he's a beast over there
Yep.
in LA. He's a beast.
Monster.
Trey Smith, same thing.
Yes.
Kendrick Green, same thing. My whole thing is you limit yourself with the play calling because you have to help out with the offensive line to be able to generate some sort of offense. You've seen it. Jason Garrett, he may love his tight end sets. The problem is if you're utilizing it for the simple fact of half blocking and half running a route or run blocking, at this point your offense is going to become so stagnant. You're not going to be able to get anything done. And two, any defense and any defensive coordinator who's worth his salt is going to sit there and look at your tape and watch everything you do and pretty much dictate, hey, you know what? This is what they're about to run. And that happened last night on a couple of occasions. They knew what the Giants were running.
Yep.
They knew it right off the bat. So I want an OC, but I know it can't happen because of how this offensive line is. And I hope Freddie Kitchens can find a way to go about doing it, but get this offense to the point where they are firing on all cylinders, getting that ball down the field, utilizing your your weapons in the right way. I want to see Saquon used like Alvin Kamara. I want to see
Thanks.
Kadarius Toney used like Debo Samuel. You got Kenny Galladay. He's tall. Get him up there, get him that 50-50 ball and let him ball out. You have
Mhm.
got to be imaginative and creative in this NFL right now. You have to be. You cannot have this 80s style I
Yep.
formation, 2 tight end set nonsense running continuously because you're not fooling anybody. You're not. You know,
It's
I'm sorry to go off. I'm sorry to go off on my little rant just now, but
No, don't. You
I had
good? You good?
I had to get it out there because uh, it's bothersome to see. And before I go, I just want to say shout out to Hit.
Thank you,
I
bro.
appreciate you having me on, Nate. It's always a pleasure talking with you.
Of
But
course.
when it's all said and done, we're all Giants fans. We're gonna, cheer, for this for this team, and pray and hope that that we finally get it together at some point to where we can sit there and hold our heads up high and say, you know what, I'm a Giants fan. I'm gonna do it regardless, no matter what. But have this fan base be proud of what's being presented by the New York Giants, man. So thanks for having me on.
Not a problem, Rodney. I appreciate you stopping through, my brother.
No problem, man. Y'all take it easy.
Yes, sir. Now, we're actually going to close this live stream here. We've been going off for, oh shit, about an hour and 15 minutes. So, Nate, you got anything else you would like to say to the people? Let them know how you feeling. If you want to plug in your social medias, no problem, man. The floor is all yours.
Just I'm happy about this news, and that's pretty much just subscribe to Nate Talk Sports on YouTube. Just do that. That's fine.
All right, no problem, man. Nate, I appreciate you stopping by. It's been a hell of a show, man. If you're new to the channel, hit the sub button, leave a like below, follow us on Twitter. The link will be in the description. Guys, it's been rough. We got Jason Garrett out of here. We're gonna see how the rest of the season plays out. Hopefully, Freddie Kitchens can get some things going. We're gonna turn things around. Whether it's gonna be this year, next year, we will. But I appreciate everybody stopping by. It's been a Hit Squad Productions video. See ya.